Muses of Mythology is a spoiler-heavy podcast.
That's an understatement.
We're going to discuss not just the events of this book, but the Riordan as a whole, and really anything that we feel is relevant. You can find full spoiler warnings in the show notes. So, DJ.
Can I get a little of your water, actually? Just a little.
No,
Just a little bit of water.
Get your out! Welcome to Muses of Mythology, a podcast where we explore how ancient myths become part of modern pop culture through the lens of Riordan's The Kane Chronicles. This is Story 107, Nephthys. I'm your co-host and podcasting muse, Darien Smartt. Joining me is my co-host and brother, DJ.
How's everybody doing today? I am DJ the Muse, and I've been playing a lot of Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel.
Oh.
It's a Falcon
It's a mouthful.
Game. It's the Legend of Heroes series.
Uh-huh.
But then their subtitles are also Trails of Blank all the time. So, but this one's Cold Steel, and I'm not a turn-based game guy. I've been getting through it, and I'm getting to the end of it. And I'm just trying to remember who the traitor was that my buddy told me about 5 years ago.
Oh no! Why are you trying to remember? This is we need to go to the garden. We gotta go back. Okay, DJ. Tell me everything you know about Nephthys.
Set's wife?
Yep.
Set's wife.
That's it? Reading the Kane Chronicles.
Water goddess.
Okay.
River goddess. I think.
Set's wife, river goddess.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Betrayed Set when she realized Set was doing hokey shit.
Mm-hmm. Is it a betrayal when the person was at fault?
Yeah. It's still technically a betrayal.
But, he killed her king.
Yeah.
Who should her loyalty be to?
That's the question.
Big
right?
shrug. DJ gave a big shrug, all the way up to his ear shrug. Who's to say?
Look, I'm not saying that I would be loyal to my wife in every situation, but I mean,
it'd have to be a big thing for you to be
it'd have to be a pretty big thing to be like,
killing their king and brother and your brother and cutting him to pieces?
I don't know, maybe.
Okay, so before we get into Nephthys properly, a shout out to good friend and host of...
Could have been father-in-law.
Could have been.
But Rick didn't want to do it.
We can't. Every episode cannot be us circling back around to this.
No, you're right.
I mean, it can, but then we have to commit to it every episode. It has to be the bit.
It'll just come up.
It does just come up. All right.
Because it's just a cooler way of doing things.
It is. That was the one for this episode. Okay. All right. So shout out to good friend and host of Through the Mist, Owen. He is the one we happened to chat recently, and I was like, Owen, I don't know what to do next. I'm having such a hard time. And Owen's like, well, what if you do just the five big ones first, and that helps build a foundation. And I'm like, you're right, Owen. Obviously, that's what I should do. I was getting myself. So I decided I want to do Nephthys first because that's funny to me. That's more fun. Oh, Set, Osiris, Isis, Horus. You know all of them. We're gonna do Nephthys.
Yeah.
And also, I've been calling them the Fab Five in my head.
That's so cringe.
So it is so cringe. But they actually, DJ, what have I told you? They did have a group name.
I believe it.
So
I believe they have an idol group name.
They have an idol group name. So this group name doesn't actually include Horus.
Oh, sad.
So this is the Great Aeneid. And it's a group of 9 deities in Egyptian mythology who were worshipped as this group in this order of importance at Heliopolis.
Okay.
And these were Aten, that sun creator god we discussed in the last episode, his children, Shu and Tefnut, their children, Geb and Nut, and their children, Osiris, Isis, Set, and Nephthys.
Okay.
Now, Aeneid is actually a Latinization of the Greek term that means the 9. It's not actually their Egyptian name.
Yeah, I figured that when you said Aeneid. I'm like, that's a Greek thing.
It is a Greek thing. Now, the hieroglyphs also mean the 9. So we're on the same thing.
Yeah.
We just don't actually know how those are pronounced. Because hieroglyphs don't have vowels, and it's a little up in the air. And since the Aeneid is the accepted title for these deities at this time, that's what we're going to use.
Okay.
Now, this is not the only Aeneid. Throughout Egypt, various gnomes had their own collection of deities that they would elevate by importance, right? Like this was not, even when Egypt was like, even during the kingdoms when everybody was working together and it was all like one kingdom under the pharaoh, everyone kind of still had their own stuff going on. There wasn't like one cemented, like, well, we talked a lot about like how the Egyptian mythology religion changed over like this 5,000 year span. I don't think I also talked about enough how it was different in different places. So like when I mentioned that this was the Heliopolis way of doing things, I talked about the myths from Heliopolis as well. But this, you can, essentially the point I want to make right now in this moment is that this is quite obviously where Rick Riordan gets his structure for his deities, right? He's got Ra at the top, and then the wind god and the water goddess, and then sky and the earth, and then their kids. And so, for the rest of the season, if I use the term Great Aeneid, the Aeneid, I'm referring to this Heliopolis structure because this is what Rick Riordan modeled in Kane Chronicles.
Yeah.
Among the Heliopolis, among the Aeneid, we have Nephthys. Now, right away, here's another thing. This is a Greek name. It's a Greek form of her Egyptian name, which was Nephet. And the literal translation of this word is Lady of either the house, or the temple, or the mansion. That second one kind of just depends on how you want to translate it.
Yeah.
But Lady of this physical place. Yeah, this physical place, right? This structure, right?
Yeah.
This structure. Another fun thing, many scholars believe that this Lady of the Temple title was not the goddess's name, but one of her epithets.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, it means we've lost this figure's actual name.
Sad. Hate to see it.
Maybe.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It could, probably.
We don't know.
I think the chances are high we've lost her name.
But we have like everyone else's, and this is used a lot, and it is a text. But the other thing about her is that these hieroglyphs for Lady of the Temple appear on every image of her.
Nice.
So, Nephthys is often presented as a kite, Egyptian kite, not a flying kite, but that'd be pretty cool. I know you know, listener. Sometimes it is fun to joke about it, though.
Yeah, that was the running gag.
It's a running gag
throughout the whole book series.
And I actually think it's funny. Or she sometimes...
I think it overstayed its welcome.
Yeah, I think the cheese thing overstayed its welcome.
They all overstayed its welcome. No.
Oh, no. We can't do this. Okay, so she either appears as a kite or as a woman with falcon wings. When she has her winged form, she will appear with her feathered arms stretched up and out, which I learned in doing research for this episode, is a stance that communicated protection in ancient Egypt.
Arms outstretched.
Arms outstretched. Shut up. No. I can't. Story and Song didn't come out this year.
Sad.
I've got no word on it. It's probably going to be next summer, but like,
they're
cooking. They're cooking, and it's a big one, and it's got. I know they got to nail it. So I would.
We got a lot to go through on this one.
I'd love for someone to acknowledge it, though. Okay, back to Nephthys.
Yeah, just a tweet saying you're cooking.
You're cooking.
just two words. We're cooking.
We found out this past year that the TV show is officially dead.
Sad. Hate to see it.
So that's not happening. And what
hopefully
a bummer
they can get those rights back.
Yeah. So we'll move on. Okay, Nephthys. So, protection. But in either form, whether she's the winged woman or the kite, she is wearing a crown. Mm-hmm. And that crown is made up of the hieroglyphs of Lady and then this house, temple, mansion.
Yeah.
So we quite literally that is what she is. But this is a thing that is not, from my understanding, not a thing that appears for others quite. So maybe it is, and we'll find out. But that seems crazy to me. But it's how important, but it also perhaps is to distinguish her from Isis, who also often appears as a kite or a lady with wings.
Probably, because as you're describing her, I'm just thinking of Isis in Smite that has the wings, that has the...
And she also maybe distinguish her from Ma'at, who's got wings, but often has the feather of truth.
Yeah.
So, now, another thing that I learned.
Big fan of winged women, the Egypts.
Big fan of winged women.
Can't say I blame him.
No, I think it's a good look.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that I learned that was pretty interesting is that the cries of the Egyptian kite or the Egyptian hawk reminded the ancient Egyptian people of the wails of lamentation of women in mourning.
Okay.
So I was like, well, that's heavy. Moving on.
It's a crazy image.
It is a crazy image. So let's get into the big thing, like the one major prominent myth we know Nephthys from, our Osiris myth.
Yes.
Listeners, you've been with us. We've talked about this a lot. We'll properly unpack this as we go forward. But as I go forward, I'm going to just focus on each player's part in it.
Okay.
So Nephthys' role is she aids Isis in regathering Osiris's dismembered body parts and helping bring him back to life.
Mm-hmm.
The pyramid texts, which we talked about in an early episode, this is these ancient texts on a literal pyramid wall. They describe Osiris as being reassembled, conceived, and nursed by the two goddesses, terms that really intertwined both Nephthys and Isis with resurrection, the afterlife, and rebirth. Those pyramid texts also connected Nephthys and Isis to specific parts of this cycle.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to quote Utterance 222, line 210. Ascend and descend with Nephthys, sink into darkness with the night bark. Ascend and descend, ascend with Isis, rise with the day bark.
Fun.
So this passage really indicates that Isis is associated with the birth part of this birth and rebirth cycle, whereas Nephthys has a connection to the death, the descent into the Duat, into the underworld.
Mm-hmm.
When we find imagery of the Osiris myth, Nephthys traditionally guards the pharaoh's head. So you have the winged woman with her arms protecting the head. For this reason, Nephthys would also adorn like the corners or ends of sarcophagi. For example, an 18th dynasty sarcophagus of Thutmose IV. In the 19th dynasty, canopic jars. DJ, what's a canopic jar?
It's where the organs go.
Yeah, it's the funerary vessels for the embalmed organs of mummies.
Yes.
They began to be modeled after sons of Horus, and each one was associated with a direction as well as a goddess that protected the jar itself and the organ within. The canopic jar holding the lungs was modeled after the baboon god Hapi. It represented the north, and it was protected by Nephthys.
Nice.
And then let's skip several dynasties to the 26th dynasty, and from this point onward, every single mummy throughout Egypt, royal and non-royal, would have an amulet of Nephthys. Pyramid texts describe Nephthys as a powerful force who made demons tremble and fear, using her magic to navigate the layers of the Duat. This is likely why later texts would describe Nephthys as a companion to the dead in their travels. Ptolemaic texts in the temple of Edfu refer to Nephthys as the helpful goddess or the excellent goddess, likely for this reason. Swinging back to like our Osiris myth,
Yeah.
Nephthys is also shown to help Isis after Horus was born. Isis is often called his birth mother, while Nephthys was referred to as his nursing mother.
Makes sense. Okay.
This actually leads to Nephthys being viewed as the nurse for the pharaohs themselves.
Makes sense.
Again, they all want this deep connection to their gods. The Westcar Papyrus, which is believed to have been written around the 13th dynasty, included 5 different stories, featuring one where Ra sends several goddesses to aid in the birth of triplets, because these 3 sons are going to be great kings of Egypt who will worship the gods. One of these goddesses is Nephthys.
Nice.
They also disguise themselves as musicians.
As
to help her,
musicians?
which, can you imagine how crazy it is? Like, you're a lady, you're about to give birth, and then this like
Band troupe?
this
Mariachi
troupe,
band just
this-
comes in. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, I was thinking this like girl K-pop group like rolls up and they just help you give birth.
Yeah.
We only have fragments of this, so it's unclear whether the goddesses ever reveal themselves to this woman as who they are. But
Mhm.
the sons are all born and they're all healthy. So,
Oh, good.
but yeah, Nephthys also associated with birth, and specifically the birth and protection of pharaohs, of kings.
Nice. Hey, good for her.
Right? Yeah, she's had a lot going on. Now, DJ, you may be asking yourself, but what about Set? As you mentioned earlier, the two things you knew about him.
Yeah.
So, Greek historian and philosopher Plutarch preserved the myth of Isis and Osiris in his texts concerning Isis and Osiris. Like, this is the best recording we have of this text. It's kind of largely why it's been preserved so well. We know it was important. We understand that a lot of pieces of Egyptian culture and practice come from it, but we do have Plutarch to thank for it still being a thing we know so well.
Yeah.
In this text, he does cite Nephthys as the wife of Set, but this belief has been called into question by modern Egyptologists.
Oh, nice.
So, when presenting her paper at the 58th annual meeting of the American Research Center of Egypt, Egyptologist Jessica Lavia noted that early Egyptian sources don't link Nephthys and Set together. Rather, Lavia suggested that the marriage of the deities came later, noting that Nephthys, quote, is not paired with Set the villain, but with Set's other aspect, the benevolent figure who is the killer of Apophis.
Mm-hmm.
This was the aspect of Set worshipped in the Western oases during the Roman period, where he is depicted with Nephthys as co-ruler. And the idea that this marriage may have been a Roman-era development kind of tracks with the brother-sister marriage of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've talked a lot. We talked about with Cleopatra and Hatshepsut and tons of all Egyptian pharaohs, basically, were marrying their siblings. Ramses the Third married two of his daughters. Like, not nice. Opposite of nice. Fucked up.
Goober,
no,
dude.
what a goober. And it's worse. It's worse, right? In the incest brother-sister thing is not good, is bad.
Yeah.
That one is worse.
Yeah.
Upsetting. While I was thinking about this, I had a question. It occurred to me. Was this just a thing in Egypt? Like, did everybody do this? That can't have been good for the genes. And the answer is no.
No, it's probably just the royalty.
It was just the royalty. And did you want to guess why the royals did this? Because we do have a reason.
Bloodline stuff.
Isis and Osiris.
Yeah, yeah.
Another way they really wanted to model themselves after their gods, build that connection, the Egyptian pharaoh would marry a sibling specifically to model Osiris and Isis. Cleopatra models herself after Isis. That's not an accident. That was by design from the beginning, especially the Ptolemaic rulers who really leaned into this.
Yeah, but
tradition.
her brothers sucked, so
Yeah.
Had to go outside for that one.
Yeah. So after marrying, while this was something that the royals were doing, it seems like the non-royals weren't. This was not a common practice. They were not pharaohs. They were not gods in themselves. And also, as far as I can tell, like, again, the records are sparse. This was so very long ago. I don't know, but it seems like the tradition of marrying a sibling was something the pharaoh did after they became a pharaoh.
Makes sense.
Because that's when you are
that's when you're
Osiris.
royalty, truly.
That's when you're Horus. That's when you are a god, right?
Yeah.
So, but all that said, the practice did become more prevalent among non-royals in Egypt during the Roman era. And there's some, I couldn't deep dive into history where it was like, was this like adoption? Was this? Was this land? What was this? It's not sure. But that became more of a thing in Egypt. And this is, again, the Roman era was after Cleopatra the Seventh, right?
Yep.
This is when it became like a territory of Rome, which was when Plutarch was alive. So begs the question, did his account of Nephthys and Set include them being husband and wife? Because now that was the thing of Egypt rather than the thing of the pharaoh. And even when Set kills Osiris and becomes pharaoh, Nephthys leaves with Isis immediately to go help her. So at what point in time would he have had time to marry Nephthys, unless this was a thing that was believed to have been done beforehand?
Yeah, probably. I believe that. Yeah. Romans were known to do something like that.
Yeah, and this is someone looking at a story that this is Egyptian. These are Egyptian gods. They must be like the Egyptian people. This is a thing the Egyptian people do. We just that with so And this actually ties into kind of another element of Nephthys's mythology that very likely came much, much later in comparison to the rest of it. So in his article, Osiris and the Deceased, published in UCLA's Encyclopedia of Egyptology, Mark Smith cited a couple variations on the Osiris myth in which Set claims justification for killing the divine pharaoh. One of them involves this being an act of self-defense, like Osiris kicked him first, so Set's like, now I'm going to kill you. I don't know.
A little bit of an overreaction there, buddy, but okay.
We're not going to go into that. The other one claims that Osiris and Nephthys had an affair, which resulted in the birth of Anubis. Now, as an aside, Nephthys is often cited as Anubis's mother.
But we don't know who Anubis's father is, really.
But much like Anubis's mother, who could be Nephthys or Isis or Bast, his father could be Osiris or Set or who knows how many.
Yeah.
There's, much like Horus, his parents could be Geb and Nut or Isis and Osiris. It's kind of a rotating thing. So, but in the specific text where this is the justification for it, I hit a wall.
Okay.
Because whenever I see a source, I do love to like see it myself to see if I agree with the way this information is being portrayed. Because there have been times where it's like, this is a thing, and then I go to the source and read what they're citing.
Like, this is not a thing.
And I'm like, that is not, I do not agree with your interpretation of this thing or the conclusion that has been drawn.
Yeah.
The problem with this one is that in this work, Smith is citing the work of some German scholars whose work is in German.
Yeah.
And while I was able to get to a actual copy of the text, it was like photos of the pages in German. So I couldn't even highlight and throw it through Google Translate.
That's a lot of work to try to type that into.
So I couldn't read it.
Sad.
But one of the German scholars he was citing was German Egyptologist Wilhelm Spielberg's work with a demotic papyrus, which is housed in the Royal Museum in Berlin. He did this work in this particular thing he published, looking into this papyrus, was published in 1902.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I, couldn't really track down that specific text because it was in German.
Yeah.
But I did a little digging on Demotic. I really want to put an N in there, but I can't. Demotic papyrus. Now, Demotic is a script language of ancient Egyptian. It was that middle one on the Rosetta Stone between hieroglyphs and ancient Greek.
Mm-hmm.
And it was developed in the later 25th dynasty and used largely between 650 BC and the 5th century AD. So, since the text of this papyrus is written in Demotic and is being used to cite this story in which Nephthys hooks up with Osiris, and that is the justification Set uses to kill Osiris. And since the Demotic script came out much, much later, I think this is another thing we can establish as something that very likely was added to the myth later, perhaps to like intertwine some other established elements.
Mm-hmm.
Nephthys being a mother of Anubis sometimes being called Osiris's oldest son, and Set and Nephthys being married. Because if we're kind of in the later times, this could be as far back as the 5th century AD. That's the Roman era again. Again, I couldn't figure out when this papyrus he was referring to was written.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't say when, but it is one of those things that came later. Especially because, kind of important detail, according to this version of the story, Nephthys disguises herself as Isis to seduce Osiris and give Set justification.
That's crazy.
Right? Feels super out of character.
Feels very important.
For everything else I just told you about this figure, seems crazy out of character and super big yikes. So.
My boy Osiris did nothing wrong.
I don't think Nephthys did either.
No.
I think that's the point of it.
Yeah, I don't think Nephthys did something wrong either.
So, I'm going to say, I'm not entirely sure.
I just mean in that situation, Osiris did nothing wrong. He was tricked.
He was tricked. He's the victim here.
They tricked him.
He tricked him. The conclusion I'm drawing with this is that I feel like this element of the myth is likely another thing that was added much, much later and was not maybe prevalent in this myth for most of Egyptian history.
Yeah. I don't doubt it. Again, Romans are known and want to do that. So
They are known and want to do that. Okay, DJ, I've got one more fun thing for you.
Great.
I knew this episode was going to be on the shorter side. It's Nephthys. She doesn't have a lot, but I did want to give her own episode because I couldn't figure out how I'd fold her in, and also that kind of sucked, and I didn't want to do that to my girl because actually, after doing the research, liked Nephthys a lot. Now, it wasn't all death and birth, and I'll say it, slander. Nephthys also had festivals that called for a lot of drinking.
Hell yeah.
In reliefs found at Edfu, Dendara, and Veibet, Nephthys is depicted as receiving lavish beer offerings from the pharaoh. In return, she would, quote, return using her power as a beer goddess that the pharaoh may have joy with no hangover.
There you go. God, I wish that were me.
Right?
I don't. I actually don't like being drunk.
No, me neither. I like being a little tipsy.
Even then, it's... I prefer high, so.
Listen, we all have our vices.
Yeah.
I prefer eating just 3 cupcakes, honestly.
Just 3.
And a boba drink and a little piece of fancy chocolate. And I just... God, I have a sweet tooth right now. Okay. And then maybe a caramel-dipped Mickey Mouse-shaped marshmallow from the German pavilion at Epcot. Damn it. Okay, we got to finish it. We got to continue on. Okay, so DJ, that is what I have for Nephthys.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you again. Or maybe actually ask you for the first time.
Okay.
What is Nephthys the goddess of?
You know, I don't think she was a water goddess.
Yeah, DJ, here's the twist. She wasn't a fucking river goddess.
Yeah, it's kind of... Sounds like she was just another goddess of magic.
Yes. She was a goddess of magic, much like Isis, but specifically, she was a goddess associated with death and the afterlife and funeral rites.
Yeah.
And embalming and beer.
Where did the river stuff come from?
That's such a good question.
Oh, you didn't find anything either?
No.
That looks like he was fishing for a reason that Zia's life would be in danger with this goddess.
But it's so weird.
He was planning her, I guess, to be the... What is it? The
Eye of Ra.
The Eye of Ra from the beginning. So had to have some sort of conflict as to why Nephthys is incompatible, but Ra is super compatible.
I just feel like it could just be the incompatibility didn't even have to be an element to it.
No, it could have just been, yeah, I'm hiding out in this body for a bit because I'm scared.
Yeah, and
what's his name?
Iskandar.
Iskandar, yeah.
Because it sounds like salamander. Yeah. Iskandar realizes this, wants to protect her, puts her in the tomb, and it could just be that. And then she's trapped and it feels like death because she's a death goddess and that's why she's scared.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have, I guess they also need to figure out a reason to get to the Rio Grande. Like how do we talk to Nephthys? But she didn't have to be a river goddess for that. You could just justify we need to get to a big river in a desert.
Yeah.
Because that's the most like Egypt. Because Carter has that whole thing about feeling like Horus again. Like when he was a child at the banks of the Nile.
Yeah.
And it could just be like, in this place, the memory of Egypt is strong here. And we can use that to try to communicate to her because she was right? Like
just weird. It's just strange.
I'm on the Rick Riordan wiki now just to see if we have any quotes about why she's is this goddess way, because
I don't know, could have had like it be weird with Anubis like transferring messages from Zia to Sadie.
Yeah.
It's like I'm getting like a voice of Zia and I don't know why.
Yeah, like he's like, I can hear her. I shouldn't be able to. Right, so here in the so there's no
like she's not dead. I know she's not, but I know what she's saying and she's calling out right now.
Yeah.
Some shit like that.
He's like, she's sleeping. What does that mean? Not like that. No, not like that. Okay, so there's nothing in the actual text of the wiki. except under trivia, where it specifies that, unlike in Riordan's wars, Nephthys was never regarded as a water deity in ancient Egyptian mythology, and her worship was strictly linked to the afterlife for most of Egypt's history, though not always in the same role.
So, like, why?
So, yeah, I
just love to sit down and talk with the guy and ask him some questions.
And, okay, so here's a blog post on Rick Riordan's website. You can do Meet the Egyptian Gods. Let's go to Nephthys' page real quick. And she's still cited as a river goddess.
Wow.
I guess, I don't know. I guess you would if it's your own thing.
Yeah, I guess if you're meeting specifically the gods of this world, right?
Yeah.
It's just weird.
You know what makes me so annoyed? Is the fact that he wouldn't get Apollo out of Olympus, but he just made Nephthys a river goddess. That he wouldn't take Apollo out of Olympus, but he used Christian propaganda to use his version of Freya.
Yeah.
That he wouldn't get Apollo out of Olympus, but he was fine with saying Circe couldn't undo the guinea pig magic.
He couldn't get Apollo. He wouldn't get Apollo out of Olympus, but he uses Giannis as a Greek god.
Listen, I like Rick Riordan. I think he's a good storyteller. I love his characters. I like these worlds.
He just every now and again, just a little trip.
I like Hecate in Wrath of the Triple Goddess.
She's a lot of fun.
I'm excited for Court of the Dead. I think that comes out pretty soon.
Court of the Dead and whatever the third.
That actually hasn't been formally announced yet.
They've not even announced it yet?
We know it's happening because it is a trilogy. Of course
we know it's happening.
But we don't have a name or a release date for it.
I feel like we had a name and release date by this point.
We did.
It's crazy.
I don't know, man. So,
He's struggling. He's like, I don't even know.
He's doing a lot. I mean, season 2 and 3 are like
taking up a lot of time.
Season 3 is they are starting filming it already.
Yeah, good.
Which is great. Now, if we could get a confirmation that you're going to do the 2 more,
4 and 5.
4 or 5, just do it.
Just
at New York.
You're here.
Yeah, they did.
You're already doing 3.
Just do it. Just finish it. They've already
just top it up.
San Diego Comic-Con has passed us by. Oh, I guess we didn't acknowledge. San Diego Comic-Con passed us by. We got the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Like the trailer.
I haven't watched it yet, so.
It's a trailer.
Yeah, but it looks great.
I don't have any. There's nothing.
Sea of Monsters. I liked it.
I like Sea of Monsters.
It was my favorite for the longest time.
It's gonna be fun. We got the D'Angelo kids have been cast.
Good for them.
Good for them.
I bet they look great.
They look like cute little kids. They're little brunette kids.
Yeah. Probably some like just cute little Italian kids.
Yeah, I think they're gonna be great. So that's we acknowledge. But yeah, that is actually the real reason why Nephthys needed to have her own episode, DJ. Because I needed to be able to tell you that she's not a river goddess, she's a death and afterlife goddess, and I just needed you to react to that.
Yeah, this is weird.
And that deserved a whole episode build up. Yeah.
This definitely is a side project series. You could feel it.
But it's not. Okay, so when I was doing the Raw, it took me a while to find, not Capri, Khefu. Anything that connects Khefu to Ra as one of his aspects. Because there was a moment in time where I thought Rick Riordan had accidentally conflated Khufu with another creation deity that does appear as a goat-headed god in the afterlife, but is explicitly different. And I was for a moment like, did he get those wires crossed or intentionally blend those together?
I'm not saying he doesn't do his research. I just mean like, in terms of writing and storytelling, this is a side series.
Which, for sure.
Like, yeah, it is. But it feels like...
But doesn't Magnus not?
Magnus doesn't, though. That's what's crazy. But that's just because he's in his element with first-person storytelling.
But Sadie and Carter are also first-person. It just swaps between the two. Is it the swapping?
I think it's the swapping. It was his first take at it, at the swapping.
No. Well, you're right. Oh, he was doing... Again, another thing. He's doing Heroes of Olympus at the same time.
Yeah, he was doing Heroes at the same time, and that was a big undertaking.
And that one, I would say, is a lot rougher in terms of when you can see the execution doesn't work quite as well. I feel like Kane Chronicles, he set out, he had a plan, we stayed on the plan. Heroes of Olympus, feels like we veered off and he had to completely course correct. or change his mind entirely,
it's
because it's
that whole era of him writing. It just, I like Heroes a lot. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of Heroes.
Mm-hmm.
But I recognize it. It's not his best work.
It's not his best work, no. But yeah, so I thought that Khufu was incorrect, and then I did a little bit more digging, found the Ba aspect, and was like, oh no, this is actually a really good, like, deep cut.
Yeah, this is a good pull.
So I'm so confused. I don't know where the river goddess thing comes from, because again, it's like not in this work again. Richard H. Wilkinson's The Complete Gods and Goddesses of Ancient Egypt, which is considered one of the most useful resources for doing this. I can't imagine Rick Riordan didn't pick up a copy.
It's just not there.
It's not.
Yeah, this was Ric Flair, for sure.
It's so baffling.
It's not great.
It's baffling. I don't understand it. And again, I'm not angry. I'm not being like, oh, you did wrong, you did
bummed.
bad. I'm just confused because I don't feel like the river goddess element is more interesting than a death goddess element.
No, of course it's not. It would, and maybe it would have. You could have had like Walt helping out with the finding of Zia too.
Yeah,
like properly.
He's like, I don't know. I feel like give us more Walt time.
Yeah, I could feel it.
Or like maybe it helps underline why Anubis has never taken a host, because it's actually so very dangerous for death gods to try this.
Yeah.
Like Nephthys has not had, that's why there's so few myths of her later on. She had so few because the hosts couldn't handle it. They weren't close. If you weren't in the right place, if you aren't close enough to the duats.
If you're not dead.
Yeah, they can't withstand
properly.
it. And again, also, Nephthys is also...
It drains your life.
Yeah, and she's also a protective goddess, and she's a kind goddess, and so we could also have used that to be like, she doesn't like to see mortals suffer when they try to host her, so she just doesn't do that. And so maybe... And that could have been why Zia was so freaked out and in such pain and agony, because Nephthys she had to find a place because she was in the mortal world, but that's not where she wanted to be. And so... she's trying to protect Zia, but it's draining her life, and Zia's freaked out, and they have a time limit where they have to find her. And I we can still go to the Rio and just justify that's like Bast can like really tap into like this part of Egypt when you're by this river. It just taps into some sort of like ancient memory. I don't know, make it up. But like to make a goddess is just not as interesting. Could have gone to
the Luxor and it's been like, yeah, this is the shape of a fucking ancient tomb.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a black glass pyramid.
Man, did Rick just want to bring them to the Rio because it's a big river in the desert?
Probably, yeah.
And so he had to find a reason for them to go to the Rio Grande?
Yeah. I have no idea why he chose to make that water goddess. Because if it's nowhere, then it's what the hell? At the very least, with Freya, there was that thing.
I found the thing. It's
thing.
Not a good thing.
No, it's not. But there's a thing. It's there.
But yeah, goddamn, Rick, you do so good, and then you do, and it's like on the trivia page. That's it, which suggests to me he's never addressed it.
Yeah,
and maybe he has. Maybe back when he was on Twitter. Maybe it's somewhere. I'm not seeing it. I didn't do a lot of digging into that. So here's the thing I propose. If any of our dear friends actually ever get to interview Rick Riordan,
ask him why
just ask sideways, where was the inspiration for your Nephthys? Not why did you do this? We got to word it the way we don't want him to feel attacked. Where did you find your inspiration for your version of Nephthys in the Kane Chronicles?
Yeah.
Because I just don't think it was more interesting than if she had been a death goddess.
Maybe he's just like, I don't know how to write this right now. I'm dealing with a lot of shit with Heroes, and I could have had more interesting stuff with this series, but I'm throwing it to the wayside right now. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
All right, yes, thank you all so much for joining us. Open it to why do you think Rick Riordan made her a river goddess? Yeah. Please. If anyone knows of an old tweet or a blog post, please. I
stand by they just needed some sort of reason as to why Zia and her were incompatible.
Yeah, we move on. All right, DJ, so we're going to do the rest of these 5 first. Who should we do next?
I said we run it into Isis.
Let's do Isis. Okay, let's do the sister next. So we will be back in your ears on Tuesday, August the 12th, to talk about Isis.
Woo!
And that'll be August. And hey, end of August, we're going to be at Boise Comic Arts Festival.
That we are.
Come see us. That'll be great. If you're in the area, if you're in the Treasure Valley area, it's a free con, but like don't don't fly out for it.
If you want to fly out,
If you-
absolutely fly out.
I mean, yeah,
for
Robert Gamer, you should fly out for it. You specifically.
it. I mean, yeah. If you guys want to see us,
If you
we'll
want.
be there. It's going to be great.
It's going to be fun. We're going to do a trivia challenge, which seems to be our bread and butter for these kind of things.
Yes.
And until next time, don't be like Zeus.
Don't be like this.
Muses of Mythology is created and hosted by Darien and DJ Smartt. It's edited by Darien Smartt. The show is produced by Darien and DJ Smartt, as well as
Tim O'Connor.
The Crystal Conman. Nicholas Miller. Jeffrey Babbitt.
Our music is Athens Festival by Martin Hain.
And our cover art is by Ran Kapoka. You can find them on Instagram or through the link in our show notes. Want more Muses of Mythology? Support the show on Patreon. Join the Patreon for free for access to outtakes and bloopers from our main feed episodes. Or for $5 a month, you can enjoy our Bunker 9 bonus episodes every other week. Get more at patreon.com/Muses of Mythology.
You can also support the show by leaving a review at lovethepodcast.com/Muses of Mythology. Or tell a friend why you love the show.
Don't forget to check out all of our episodes and episode transcripts at musesofmythology.com.
Thanks for listening.